Welcome to the Note to Self podcast. I'm your host, Zoe. I'm a certified professional life coach, serial entrepreneur, verified YouTuber, and published author. On this podcast, you can expect actionable tips, reflections, and inspiration to live your best, most fulfilling life. So, let's get started. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Note to Self. Today is a super exciting day because the cart is officially open for my latest program, Opulence. Opulence is 5 weeks to clear your past with money, become a clean and magnetic channel for financial energy, learn to hold the frequency of overflowing abundance, and align with a financially free future. I couldn't be more excited to bring forth this program for you today because, as you guys know from listening to this podcast, wealth consciousness, abundance mindset, and just a healthy relationship with money has been at the forefront for me for some time now. I've learned so many things, and naturally, I've received beautiful results that reflect that in the external reality. So, in this program, I'm going to be teaching you everything I know, and I know that this is actually a program where I'm going to continually launch in the future because there's just something about healing your relationship with money and the freedom that's on the other side of that. I'm a freedom loving Sagittarius, and I know that it is in my life purpose to bring forward the knowledge, the wisdom, the tools to allow people to gain and experience new levels of freedom in their own lives. So presently, Opulence is on for $444. This is, like I said, a 5-week group program with over $2,000 worth of bonuses. There's so much goodness packed in here. And it's going to be an incredibly fun journey because 4 of the modules are delivered live with me, which will give you the opportunity to ask questions and receive coaching around anything that's going on for you in the program. But like I said, this is just action packed. Consider this your toolkit to financial freedom. It's going to be such a beautiful and abundant journey together. And I'm so excited to offer this for you today. So hop on the early bird. I highly recommend it. When it comes to the relationship with money and healing that, I only wish that I did it sooner. I only wish that I decided to look at this aspect of my life sooner. And that's kind of what I want to get into this episode today. Today's episode on Note to Self is about clearing the energy of debt because I'm going to be speaking around the energy of shame today and how a lot of us do hold a lot of shame around money. You know, whether we have debt or not, just money and shame, it just seems to be hand in hand for a lot of people. And like I'm going to be sharing today, it's something that I experienced for many years. And I mean, even presently, I'm still uncovering different layers of shame, more subtle though. But I felt like one of the biggest things for me to overcome in my journey and my relationship with money was everything that I made debt mean about me. So, debt is something that I feel like in our world, a lot of the messaging is very negative about debt, when in fact, the richest people in the world use debt to work in their favor. I'm not going to get into that today, but you can research it and look into it if you want to, whatever type of evidence you might need to start to transform your energy around debt and perhaps the shame you might feel. But for me personally, when I left high school, I was 17 years old when I graduated, and my parents gave me no choice but to go to university. I would have very much loved to go take off to Europe and travel for a year, but of course that happened in the divine time that it needed to happen in. So and I know we all have free will, but basically my parents said, you've got to go to university. And so that's just what I did. And in that journey of university, I'm very, very grateful that my parents paid for a portion of that for me. But in my final year of university and in my postgraduate, my tuition was my responsibility. So I had to take out student loans. And by the time that journey was completed for me, my postgraduate as well, I owed something like $30,000 to $35,000 to the Canadian student loans. And this felt extremely heavy on me for a very long period of time because, throughout my journey and as I've shared with you guys, leaping into entrepreneurship and deciding to take a big pay cut from, let's say, my quote unquote stable corporate job and becoming an au pair in Italy, like I was living my abundant life. I was very much enjoying my life, but I felt like there was this heaviness. There was sort of this cloud that was following me around, and that was my student debt. And some of you might think like $35,000, that's not a lot of money, or maybe you think that that is a lot of money. I know that student debt is something that a large percentage of us experience if we're going to university. So I want to like normalize that a little bit. But for me at that point in time in my life, that was a mountain. That was a mountain. It felt like a mountain. It felt extremely heavy. And even though I knew that a lot of people have student debt, like I just couldn't stop making it mean things about me. So what do I mean about that? I made it mean that I couldn't date. Like I let it seep into every other area of my life. Now, those of you out there who might be listening who might have some type of debt in your life, I just want to ask you to keep your ears open, your mind open as I'm sharing this, because perhaps there is some way in which you're making your debt mean something about you, or you're letting it seep into areas of your life to create more heaviness or create an inhibition of freedom when it doesn't have to be that way. It doesn't have to mean that. Life is all about the meaning that we give it. So ask yourself, is there any way that I'm making my debt mean things about me? I made it mean everything about me. I made it get in the way. I let it inhibit my freedom, my self-confidence in ways. And you know what's interesting is that, like I said, I could see that and know that other people were experiencing it, but I created this world where I was alone in it, that there was no way that I was ever going to get to the other side of it, that it was so heavy that it was really affecting my relationship with money. And yes, I was manifesting money, and yes, I was creating different types of income, different channels of income, but I just felt like I could never get ahead of this thing. I just felt like it was this mountain or this cloud that I was carrying along with me wherever I went. And in my relationship of healing money, I only wish I started to look at this stuff sooner in my life. I feared looking at my bank account a lot of the time. That's what that shame also did. It had me fearing looking at my money. It had me fearing taking money out. There was a lot of times when I was spending money or like out for dinner, and I was always just conscious, right? There was always just this voice at the back of my mind. This is like, can we afford that? Can we do this? Like, will this cause resistance? And that's no way to live. Abundance is our birthright. So no wonder it feels so heavy when we make things like debt mean these incredibly shameful things about us. Like I was like a bad human for having debt, even though education was and always has been so important to me. And my university experience just gave me so many, I wouldn't be who I am today without it. It gave me so many gifts and so many blessings, and it led me on to the most abundant future. So, in healing and clearing the energy around debt for myself, I'm just going to open up. And please, if this is inspiring you, if you feel like this is activating things in you, I really encourage you to sign up for Opulence, because I only wish I did this work sooner. And it doesn't have to be scary. Like I said, I feared looking at my student debt. I feared looking at my bank account. I feared the future. And that heaviness robbed me of the most precious thing that we have, which is the present moment and experiencing everything we are to our fullest capability. So if you're ready to do this, just know that you're not alone. And I am here holding you in this space and in this beautiful container, and we will move through the heaviness for you. So there was a couple big shifts that I made in the journey of having debt and clearing that and releasing the shame around it. One was that I heard Amanda Frances say that debt is the decision to pay things off over a period of time. It doesn't mean anything. It was just a decision that you made to pay something off over a period of time. And it doesn't have to mean anything about you. It was just a decision of how you were managing your finances in your future. So that was one key piece for me. Deciding and learning and really integrating that debt was only just a decision to pay something off over a period of time. And it actually didn't need to carry the shame and the heaviness that I was giving, like I was allowing. Shame is the heaviest emotion that we can carry. So anywhere where you're feeling shame in your life, the sooner you can address that, shine a light on it, and begin to transmute it, you just feel a lot more free, and the abundance starts to flow in a lot faster and in beautiful, magical ways. Another part of the debt journey for me was really getting in tune with understanding what debt actually allowed me to do. It was actually a luxury. I decided that debt was a luxury. And I know that's like probably some of you might be like, well, that's a very controversial money belief. And that's fine. I do things differently. I do things differently. And that's what we also do in Opulence. We do things differently. We decide it gets to be easy for us and we create the reality where it is easy for us. But what I mean by that, with that was a luxury, is I realized like having the ability to, let's say, take out a student loan, that was a luxury because I couldn't have afforded, I didn't have, like $15,000 or whatever it was to attend the year in school, but being able to take out a student loan allowed me to do that. That was actually a luxury, that I could give myself the gift of education and life experience without actually having that money at the forefront. And in other ways too, there's been certain times in my life where I found myself in credit card debt, but it always allowed me to do the things I needed to do. It allowed me to book flights that I needed to book. It allowed me to have experiences that I desire to have. And it allowed me to have the life experience that Zoe felt was her desire to have. And again, it always worked out because I trusted myself. And in reflecting on that, right, I just started to begin to move the energy, clearing the energy around debt of like, none of this ever meant anything about me as a human being. It didn't mean that I was innately a bad person or an irresponsible person or anything like that. It was just decisions that I made that I know that I made from my heart space, and I know that I did make in my highest good. Because like I said, if I didn't go to school, if I didn't move to Italy on a credit card, I wouldn't be the person that I am today, and I wouldn't be able to have learned the lessons that I've learned today and be speaking them to you, for example, right now. I wouldn't be who I am today without that luxury that allowed me to go to school, that allowed me to buy a one-way ticket when I felt stuck and move to Italy. So these are just a couple of examples. But I encourage you, if you're listening today and you find yourself inhibited by the energy of shame when it comes to money, that heaviness that you might have around, let's say, a student loan or some type of debt in your life, know that you're not alone, right? We're not taught this stuff in school, and that's a whole other conversation. But like, when we decide to take our power back and we decide to shine a light on the thing that feels heavy, the thing that feels scary, and move through it, we just decide that we're going to do that for ourselves. That is a beautiful and empowering journey, and not to mention a freedom-filled one, because your abundance is your birthright and you came here to have it all. So wherever you find yourself in the journey today, and if you find yourself feeling that heavy energy around debt, like I said, you're not alone. You're so welcome to join us in Opulence for this beautiful, incredible, life-changing journey. And yeah, I hope that this episode sparked something within you. Opulence will be linked down below. And I hope you all have a beautiful and abundant day. And I cannot wait to talk to you again in the next episode. Bye. Thank you for listening to Note to Self. If you enjoyed this episode, please help me out by rating and reviewing this show on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. If my energy is resonating with you and you feel the call to work with me, there are an abundance of ways to do so. I offer one-to-one life coaching programs, mastermind containers, and DIY courses, all of which are available through my website, zoearielpoulsen.com. Until next time, take note of all the abundance that surrounds you as you make the most of this game called life.